Good evening. I will call to order the Finance Committee meeting on December 8th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. We have two items on the agenda this evening. One, we have a proposed job description relative to position of the head clerk and senior clerk, along with a transfer request. We also have a proposed job description relative to the position of comptroller treasurer, along with a transfer request as well. I will begin with order number 25-100-9607, proposed job description pursuant to Chapter 125 Personnel, Section 5, preparation of classification descriptions relative to the positions of head clerk and senior clerk in the collector's office, along with a transfer request in the amount of $4,051.68. From the Assistant Finance Director to Head Clerk to fund the position for the remainder of FY 2026. I will read the letter submitted by the Mayor. Dear Council President Ossing and Councilors, to support the ongoing needs of the Collectors Department and to advance our efforts to fill vacancies, enhance employee retention by hiring the most qualified candidates, and continue effective succession planning, please find the following two job descriptions and transfer for your review and approval. 1, Head Clerk, Collectors Department. 2, Senior Clerk in the Collectors Department. Both updated job descriptions align with the other job descriptions you have seen come before you. They are based on the recommendations from the Collins Center study as we work toward finalizing job description for all non-union and union positions. The attached transfer is to cover the differential in the compensation for the head clerk position for the remainder of the fiscal year. Please do not hesitate to contact me or my office with any questions. Sincerely, J. Christian Dumas, Mayor. I will add, too, that this is part of the succession planning. It does align with the assessor's office as well, having the head clerk. But I will open that up to any Finance Committee. Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just kind of speaking off of the mayor's letter, I am supporting this because it is updating job descriptions, as you said, based on the Collins Center study to fill vacancies, retain employees, and with succession planning in mind. So with that, I would move to approve the reclassifications of the head clerk and senior clerk positions and the transfer request in the amount of $4,051.68.
Thank you, Councilor Brown. Motion has been made and seconded to approve order number 25-100-9607, the approval of the job description for the head clerk and senior clerk in the collector's office, along with the transfer request in the amount of $4,051.68 from the Assistant Finance Director to the Head Clerk Fund to position for the remainder of FY 2026. Any further discussion? Councilor Vital.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it's real important that this body understands that we shouldn't look at the Collins report as a roadmap for going forward, particularly with the increase in property taxes we announced at our last meeting. I think it's important that we look prudently at each one of these jobs and support them based on their merit and not based on some survey, some magical survey that was done out there in the community. I've done a lot of salary surveys in my past HR days, and you know, one thing I learned quickly was I can make my salary survey tell you anything you want to hear. So it's important that we do this based on the merits and not based on the Collins report. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome, Councilor. And also to note, too, part of the package is the outline for the collector and head clerk with the definition and also the essential functions for the job qualifications that the HR put together.
Mr. Chair.
Councilor.
I would just like to add an important factor that I've been discussing through the years is succession planning. We went through COVID and realized if we lost one employee, because that's how we had to work, we would separate our employees through that time period. That's a very important factor that is built into this report. I understand Councilor Vital's concern, and indeed, I would say all these reports need to be vetted, but in respect to the Collins Center, they do have years of experience, and I do agree that they can sometimes, as they say, fudge the factors, but I was supportive of that study and hope we move forward and bring positions to this body that we can review. And indeed, if it needs to be questioned, so be it. It should be questioned if there's some loopholes or loose ends. But the main thing that I'm always concerned about is succession planning, and glad to see that we're moving towards that process of planning accordingly. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good point, Councilor Owen. Any further discussion? Seeing none, motion is made and seconded. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 carries. Thank you, committee. We'll move to the next item. Next up is order number 25-100-9609, proposed job description pursuant to Chapter 125, Section 5, preparation of classification descriptions relative to the position of the Comptroller Treasurer, in addition to a proposed employment contract with Brian Duany, along with a transfer request in the amount of $20,695 from the Assistant Finance Director to Comptroller Treasurer to fund the contract for the remainder of FY 2026. I will begin by reading the letter submitted by the Mayor. Dear Councilor President Ossing and Councilors, I am pleased to submit for your review and approval the employment contract for Comptroller Brian Duany for a 3-year term and a review and approval of the attached transfer. As you may recall, the possibility of establishing a contract was discussed during the hiring process, and Brian received unanimous support from the City Council upon his appointment in early 2025. His return to Marlborough has already brought substantial relief, renewed stability, and high-capacity financial credibility back to the city. Brian's expertise and financial acumen continue to be an asset for Marlborough. During his previous tenure, the city's free cash position and OPEB funding were both exceptionally strong, and he was instrumental in securing our AAA bond rating. An achievement he has maintained, and while preserving strong relationships with our bond council, with significant capital projects on the horizon, maintaining this rating is projected to save the city approximately $1.3 million in future borrowing costs. In addition to overseeing the operating budget, Brian brings deep experience in long-term financial planning, including the 5-year capital forecast. He has also taken on added responsibility of supervising the collector's and assessor's office during current periods of vacancies. While identifying and addressing financial deficiencies such as those within the Health Insurance Trust and Workers' Compensation Fund, attached, we are also enclosing an updated job description for the position based on recommendations from the Collins Center study for your review and approval. Regarding the transfer, this proposed is to cover the contract salary for the remainder of fiscal year 2026, a worthwhile expenditure that supports continued financial leadership and preserves the city's strong fiscal position. This transfer is being funded to the vacant city collector's salary line item rather than free cash. For these reasons, I respectfully request your approval of the enclosed contract, which supports continuing stability in the city's financial leadership. Please do not hesitate to contact me or my office with any questions. Sincerely, J. Christian Dumas, Mayor. There's really not much I can add to this with accolades for Brian coming back to the city. So on a personal note, I'm very happy that he decided to return to the city and to continue this work going forward. Obviously, we know all the success that we've had during the last budget hearing. But I will open that up to the Finance Committee. Council Vital.
This is a no-brainer. I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Okay, and with that motion, what we would be approving tonight would be the Comptroller Treasurer Employment Agreement, the motion also to approve the job description, And motion to approve that transfer in the amount of $20,695.
Yes, Chair. Thank you.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve order number 25-100-9609. The job description relative to the position of the comptroller in the addition to the proposed employment contract for Brian Doheny, along with a transfer request in the amount of $20,695 from the Assistant Finance Director to the Comptroller Treasurer to fund the contract for the remainder of FY 2026. Any further discussion? Councilor Orm.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wasn't teasing when I just noted to Brian that he could be a good city manager. We're lucky to have him. Thank you, Brian. This is probably one of the most important positions within the city, in my view. You know, if we're not keeping an eye on our finances and we need a professional person in there, then in my view, we're losing. And we saw that just recently. So I'm glad to see Brian back. I'm glad he got nominated immediately. If not, I would have made that motion, and I said my piece. Thank you.
And as note two, having the contract before, the agreement before us, along with the job descriptions for the comptroller treasurer, that was a big help going forward for the city too with the succession planning, which I approved. Any further discussion? All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That carries. Thank you, Finance. I'll entertain a motion. Thank you, Mr. President. I was also asked the Finance Committee for a suspension on both orders. We're fine with that?
Yes.
Fine.
Very good.
With that,
I'll
I'd ask
entertain a
that
motion.
motion to adjourn.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are adjourned at 6:41 PM. Thank you.